Hey guys, welcome to another episode of ThinkTown Podcast. I am Paul Glasgow. Joining me tonight is Chad Marino. We're without Kendall Pruitt and Mackenzie Thorne tonight. Kendall is shooting bad guys, and Mackenzie is actually a storm is blowing through. So you guys may hear that in the background because I know I've got some in my background here. I was questionable about even being able to come on here because I thought I would lose power, to be honest with you. Chad, how you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing good.
You just made it too, huh?
Yeah. I was here. I got the message when you sent it out a little while ago, but I was kind of getting everything together here as well. It's been a while since we've been on, so I had to get everything back together.
Yeah. No, I hear you. A couple things, and we're not going to take long tonight, guys. Those of you that are tuning in. First of all, we are still on the Legally Armed America YouTube, and I mainly did that because since we haven't done ThinkTown podcast in a couple of weeks, a few weeks, I want to make sure that we still try to carry some of that momentum of that Legally Armed America audience over onto the ThinkTown podcast. So as usual, you guys are already subscribed to the ThinkTown podcast YouTube page. Please go over there, subscribe, hit that bell down at the bottom right-hand corner so you get notifications when we do go live when we put some of our content out there. We're going to try to do some more content going forward on little small bit-sized pieces. For those of you who are not familiar, the difference between Legally Armed America and ThinkTown USA is Legally Armed America is typically predominantly Second Amendment related stuff, and we're pretty much anything hot topic wise on the ThinkTown side is what we'll be covering. And obviously, it's not just me, Chad, Mackenzie, and Kendall are co-hosts of the program. So, Chad, I want to jump right into this. This is happening tomorrow. Title 42 is going to be lifted tomorrow. It's kind of a big deal. Some people are trying to blow it off, act like it's not a big deal, but it really is a big deal. And of course, us down here in the South, for those of you that don't know, Chad and myself both are right down here in South Louisiana, and the Mexican border is no more than 4 or 5 hours away from us. So this is kind of a big deal, and it's going to impact a lot of the southern states and eventually the entire country. So I want to read a little bit from this article, and then Chad and I will get into a little bit of discussion. Keep in mind, guys, go ahead and comment in the comment section all you want. We will try to roll back through some of the comments and share with the audience after we've had a chance to kind of lay the groundwork out for the topic. What is Title 42? A lot of you guys might be wondering that. You've probably been hearing a lot about that. A lot of people are not sure how it's impacted. A lot of people have the misunderstanding that it's a Trump era policy. It was implemented by Trump, but it was not originally designed by Donald Trump. Excuse me. Let me read a little bit right here. The restrictions are often referred to as Title 42. These are restrictions on immigrants, if you want to call it that, or immigration. Let's see. It's a 1944 public health law that allows curbs on migration in the name of protecting public health. The end of Title 42's use has raised questions about what will happen with migration at the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, here's a little article that's pretty interesting, and this is a border website, by the way. This is borderreport.com that I pulled this off of. In March 2020, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued an order limiting migration, saying it was necessary to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Schools and businesses were closing their doors. Hospitals were filling with patients. President Donald Trump was looking for ways to curtail immigration, his signature political issue. The order authorized U.S. Customs and Border Protection to immediately remove migrants, this is illegal aliens, including people seeking asylum. The order said areas where migrants were held often weren't designated to quarantine people or for social distancing. You'll remember that as people were illegally coming across the border, we were forcing mandates onto people who were flying airplanes and doing all kinds of other stuff here in the United States. We weren't requiring any of that on people who were legally crossing the border, nothing at all. So this is a policy that will essentially go away. They've already talked about how one of the things they intend to do. Now, this after having a couple of years knowing that this was going to expire, the plan for the Biden administration tomorrow is that this is how they're going to deal with this. They're going to implement safe street releases. In other words, they're going to find places within the United States that they're going to safely release all of these illegal aliens. In other words, they're going to be allowed to stay, but now they're going to dump them at gas stations, hotels, places that aren't necessarily high crime areas and things like that. They're looking out for their safety, I guess is my point, not yours and not America's safety. Chad, I don't know if you had a chance to read up much on this, but this is pretty crazy. I think that from what I've read, there's 80,000 people in El Paso, and there's as many as 500,000 who are on their way through Mexico, not far from the southern border, on their way here right now.
Yeah, I saw some of this today, just looking at the news and reading the news and talking about the hotel issue. I saw a story on it. It was like the first hotel was announced. This whole hotel is going to be bought out for refugees. $150 a day for up to a year. They'll house these and they'll get paid for that. After a year, if they're still there, that hotel gets $750 a day per guest. It was like a Holiday Inn or something, but I mean, I think it hold.
And we paid for that.
Yeah, it was $100,000 a day is what they said it would. Just that one hotel. They're buying out the whole hotel. So
the federal government, the American government, is paying for these people to stay there for free.
Yeah.
And if you remember, whenever many of us had to evacuate for the hurricane, the federal government wasn't paying for honest tax-paying Americans to do that. Yet we're letting people come here illegally. And I want to touch real quick on the point of asylum. First of all, people talk about people should have the right to seek asylum here. First of all, you have to be being oppressed in your own country before you can seek asylum somewhere else. Also, the way it's written and the way the law is set up is you seek asylum in your neighboring country. A lot of these people are Honduran, Guatemalan. They're coming up through Mexico, which Mexico would be their country for asylum. Now, obviously, not many people are looking to seek asylum in a country like Mexico. But nevertheless, it's not our responsibility once they pass Guatemala or even Cuba and China, for that matter, because they're coming from all over the world. It's not our responsibility once they've gone through their neighboring country to house these people. It has nothing to do with any kind of migration or asylum or anything like that. And another thing that they're doing, and it's just like people who abuse the welfare system. These people on some order understand how to abuse this system. In other words, if the women simply say that they are being domestically abused, they're immediately let in. It's no questions asked. That's why it's such a porous border. People say, oh, we're not letting them in. We are letting them in. And they say the border's not open. Well, technically the border might not be open. Maybe you have to pass through a gate. But if you say that I'm being domestically abused by my husband or whomever else, they're going to let you right in, and you go wherever you want inside the United States.
Yeah, they're lined up. They're waiting.
Yeah. I have a feeling that we're going to see, I don't know what Abbott has in mind, but I feel like I read earlier that he's not going to stop the buses all over the country where they've been sending a lot of the. Yeah, he's still planning to implement that. I think that's going to overwhelm the system. I don't know how much of that he can actually do. I do know that the federal government sent 1,500, I believe, military personnel down to the border to do nothing more than process work. But Governor Abbott has sent down, Texas State Troopers and National Guard. And I saw a video earlier, and I wish I had it. I looked for it, couldn't find it. There was video of them where these little trails go through in Brownsville, through the underbrush and all that kind of stuff. And you can see all the trash where all the illegal aliens are coming through. They were actually going through there. Not only were they laying razor wire in those things, this was today. They were laying razor wire in these trails. But at one point, there's video of about, it looked like 6 or 8 military guys from Texas that were crowding a trail and not allowing some of the illegal aliens. I've never seen any opposition to people wanting to cross illegally. And these people were literally standing in their way, in their faces, saying, you're not coming. That's the first time I think I've ever seen that. So that was kind of eye-opening. I think it's people are realizing, even some of the wackos on the left down there, I think they're realizing that we can't handle this. I mean,
think about those border towns that the people have to pass through, or everybody's going to. It's the first towns they hit when they come across the border. I'm sure they're used to dealing with immigration and people coming over the border, but that's got to be kind of scary for them too, to an extent, because you don't know what's coming to your town.
Well, and they say, especially in El Paso, that's a heavy Democrat controlled town that they're allowing, a sanctuary city. They set up a lot of different resources and things there locally in El Paso to kind of accommodate these people.
Yeah.
And what's happening is they've overwhelmed that system. I mean, it was a free system set in place to manage all of these folks that are coming in order. And even El Paso was like, okay, we can't handle this anymore.
Yeah, they're used to it. So
right, that's right, and they want to handle it. Like they don't want to say this is a crisis, and they've had to admit in the last couple of days this is
now bad. They're sending them off to cities that aren't equipped to deal with it. They think they might be, but they aren't.
That's right. I can tell you this, and I watch a lot of different programs, do a lot of research online for various things, and a lot of the stuff that I've run across. And I'm going to tie this back loosely to some of the things that we've seen, been talking about this on Legally Armed America, is the Hispanics killing Hispanics here lately. We had that happen in Cleveland, Texas, where a Hispanic guy mowed down a family of Hispanic people. We had that happen up in Dallas, Texas, just Dallas in the suburbs at the mall shooting. And then just a couple of days ago, we had again, Hispanic on Hispanic. And in Brownsville, we had a Hispanic guy mow down a whole bunch of people at a bus stop and kill a whole bunch of people. I think 9 last count were dead. And that's not common. We don't see that a lot. And what I've been reading a lot of is that the cartels are not happy with Title 42 expiring, because what the cartels have been able to do, they've been profiting handsomely on this. In other words, a cartel is going to make anywhere between $7,000 to $50,000 on getting people into the country illegally. They're paying those people, the Guatemalans, Hondurans, they all hate Mexicans, and Mexicans hate them. They're not friends at all. And they are paying these people handsomely to cross through Mexico and get their way into the United States. And they're doing this because of Title 42, because of the sea difficulty of getting into the United States. In other words, the border not being wide ass open. Well, with the lifting of Title 42 to make it so much easier to just waltz right into the United States, that takes away the need of the cartels to now have to escort these people in illegally. That now they can just walk in. They don't need to find that super secret trail or tunnel somewhere that the cartels run them through. This way, these people just stroll right up to the U.S.-Mexican border and walk across. They don't need the cartels anymore. The cartels are looking at losing billions of dollars. Billions, not just a little bit of money. This is their number one revenue source over the last couple of years, is by getting these people and the coyotes and getting them through. And now they're going to lose that in one day. So they're not happy with it. So again, I'm not saying this is the case, but to see this massive, rapid uptick in Hispanic on Hispanic crime that we've never experienced before, all at once right now, to me, that tells me the cartels are involved and they're not happy about the lifting of 42, and they're trying to intimidate somebody. I don't know who. I don't know if it's the United States. I don't know if it's the people who are going to come through illegally now. I don't know if they're trying, that's their sending messages to them and you still have to pay us. But nevertheless, these things aren't adding up. And it makes perfect sense that the cartels are not at all happy lifting of 42, because again, they're going to lose their meal ticket, and it's a huge meal ticket right now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I hadn't seen that part of it, but I can see it. Yeah, because I know there is a process of that, and I know they're making money off of it.
Right. Let's see. Let's skip, if we could, to the Biden thing today. I'm sure a lot of you all have been paying attention to what the Biden family has been up to here recently. Let me see if I can get rid of that screen. I'll bring in this other one.
I saw the possible charges against Hunter finally coming up. Is this related to that, or is this something different?
Oh, well, it should be related to it. I'm not sure if anything's going to surface of that. 9 Biden family members who allegedly got foreign money identified by the House GOP. This is pretty interesting. They have proof of this. They have gone, supposedly the Biden family has created, while Biden was vice president now, created 20 different shell companies that none of the companies did anything. In other words, it was like a plumbing company, an electrical company, a construction company, a consulting company. Well, they're calling it consulting, but they don't have a topic they consult on. Like Chad, the IT world, that's not like they were IT consultants. They were just consultants to anything, to nothing. So they created these 20 shell companies, and they had 12 different banks that they dealt with. And they have subpoenaed the records of up to 4 different banks so far. So a third of the banks they've got the records of, and already have found $10 million that's been illegally funneled to various members of the Biden house. Now, Joe Biden was smart about it, which I'm sure he had advisors to tell him illegally what he could get away with. Let's see. The people are Joe Biden's son, Hunter, of course, his brother, James, Joe Biden's brother's wife, Sarah. I like the way they worded this. Hunter Biden's girlfriend, or Beau Biden's widow. I don't know if you guys know the story there, but nope. When Hunter's a piece of crap that when his brother died of cancer, his ex-wife hooked up with Hunter. So it's just a really weird situation. But the way they worded it,
she's just staying in the game.
Yeah, exactly. But they made sure they worded it like that. So this is backhanded. Hunter Biden's girlfriend or Beau Biden's widow. However you want to write that. Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Hunter Biden's current wife.
Anybody that ever met a Biden.
Yeah, there's 10 people, I think, or 9 people, I think, that had got as much as $10 million. Now, what was funny to me, but shows you how we have 2 sets of rules, is that there's proof of this. Like, they have this proof. This is not like just emails. All right, even emails is enough to nail that down, but it's banking records that show this. And the Democrats' defense to this was, well, nothing is traced back to Joe Biden. That's their defense. It's like, yeah, we realize everybody else was embezzling money and laundering money, but look, it's Joe's wrong. None of it went to Joe. I'm like, wow, that's the best y'all could do. This is the best defense you had. Oh man, I mean, so yeah, that's where they're at. I mean, it's pretty incredible how they have laid all this out, and nobody wants to talk about it. The emails from Hunter's abandoned laptop show Carolyn turned her nose up at $85,000 job offer that would have allowed her to serve her probationary period near her beloved cousin in California. That's one of the grandchildren. Let's see. What else did they have in here? Oh, there's the crackhead right there. This probably isn't a very good article because no, it's the Post. Post isn't. Bank records indicate $80,000 transfer from Romanian business from 2015 to 2017 went to accounts identified only by the name Biden, for example. And a March memo from the committee indicated $70,000 from Chinese company CEFC China Energy did as well. Now, keep in mind, these people were doing no business other than giving money. There was no job they were performing for these Romanian businesses and Chinese businesses, Mexican businesses.
So what would that money be for, Paul?
Yeah. What do they call it? Influence peddling is what they call that. It's pretty interesting how they can do that. But man, on a similar note, I saw where, and he's kind of a goofball, but a Republican congressman in the state of New York today got 13 federal counts pressed against him for something very similar to what you're looking at right here. I think they said that, oh God, when COVID hit, that he made he applied for unemployment and wasn't eligible for unemployment. That was like one of his federal charges. And we've got the Biden family over here with $10 million that we've traced from only a third of the banks investigated so far. And that's not a big deal, but this other guy gets 13 federal charges hit against him. So yeah, I mean, double standards abound, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I think that we're going to see a whole lot more come out. I don't know. I think probably this is being done because the election's right around the corner. I honestly think that at some point, this is just my opinion, that the Democrat Party will stop pushing back against the Republicans on all this violated stuff, because what better way to get Biden out of the picture so they could run somebody else than to act like, oh, well, he did something wrong and y'all caught him, so we can't run him as president. You know, we're going to do the right thing and run somebody else. So this would be a great opportunity for the Democrats to act like they align themselves with Joe, but he's busted, so we got to let him go. So very interesting. I would definitely like to point out too in the comment section real quick. For sure, Minnie Trout, one of our moderators in there, she does such an awesome job, and I think we've got a couple other moderators that pop in occasionally, but Minnie is always there. She has been christened to be moderator on pretty much anything that I run and have any affiliation with, and I'm glad to see her in there doing a really good job. So, Minnie, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. One thing that on a separate note, let me get rid of these guys. On a separate note, Chad, I was looking today and did not realize that I sent this email to all you guys to text, and it was pretty eye-opening to me that we don't even promote our Twitter page.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 454 followers on the Thinktown Podcast Twitter. And I don't think I've ever made a post, or any of us have made a post on it. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I may not have access yet.
I need to give everybody access to it, all three of you guys, because that surprised me. I was like, what? I mean, I remember setting it up, but I don't remember populating it. I don't think I've ever, I don't believe I've ever made a post on it. I mean, I'm more active on my Legally Armed America one, but yeah, let's see, profile. Yep. There's one post on it from today. Episode of Thinktown Podcast tonight on YouTube and Facebook. That's literally the only post, and we have 400 and something followers. So that's a good thing. I guess people are wanting to get some content off of Twitter, so we'll happily oblige to put some content out there.
Yeah, we can post on there for sure.
I'll set all you guys up on that if I haven't sent that out, Chad. Chad, anything else going on in your world before we cut out of here?
No, man, just rainy weather in Louisiana this week, man, dealing with that. But
tell us about a little celebrating to do with your daughter I saw. Tell us about that.
Yeah, she's ran track this year for local high school, and they went to state last week, and they won state 3A in the girls division. So the girls team did. So they did really good. So
that's really good, man. Congratulations. It's cool to watch all that. I was watching them kind of hustle it and all the posts you made on that. That was pretty neat to watch all that.
Yeah, it's fun to watch those kids run. They work hard at that stuff. I
see that.
I told them, like, hey, I said, y'all are I pick on them because we'll drive. She picks track. It's like the longest sporting event anyone can pick because you're there for 6 hours. I was like, right. So we drive 2 or 3 hours to get to a meet in Baton Rouge or wherever. I said, they'll literally run for 2 minutes out of that 6 hours.
Gosh.
So yeah. Like, man, all this
is it at least
1 minute of running,
or is it late in the whole 6 hours?
Is what? No,
is it an early event?
Yeah, they do the field events first. So the field events are usually end about 3:30 or 4. Then they start the running events while they finish up the field events. But she does the relays, so her relays fall sort of at the beginning, and she does the 4x400, which is the last event of the meet. So we always stay the whole time. But
tell her we said congratulations. It's awesome to be able to win state. What grade is she in high school?
Sophomore.
Oh wow, she got a low ways to go. Glad to see her as a sophomore.
So,
all right. Well, Chad, you ready to get out of here? We want to do a quick one tonight, guys. We didn't leave you all hanging for another week in a row, but wanted to get something out there. Keep an eye, everybody, on the border tomorrow. I think that it's a crazy thing. So just keep your head on a swivel and watch your back, because I think we're going to see a massive influx of people on the border starting tomorrow. Closer to the weekend, a lot of that larger group will be here. So be careful, guys. Chad, we're going to get out of here, man.
Yep. All right.
Good to see
you,
man.
Guys.
All right. Bye-bye.